the way we grow. Yeah. So, and when you do this and do it again and again, you see that you find yourself coasting in when it matters, So you get the confidence, you get everything to do. Okay. So yeah, David, we can give it a shot. I mean, we can start now. Just you can go live stream, rather.
Live now.
Okay. So thank you very much, David. Thanks for joining, everyone. Thank you for another day or another evening, for a review of the book, The CRUX by Richard Rumelt, one of the very outstanding writers, renowned writers when it comes to strategy. So Richard Rumelt is known as a renowned strategist, and he delivers transformative guide designed to empower leaders to think strategically, basically. So that's his expertise. And we've read one of Richard's books in the past, which is Good Strategy, Bad Strategy, and that was as insightful as this one so far. We've seen from the introduction yesterday by Dr. Sam Obafemi, the convener of a different platform and also one of our co-founders. He was here to just give us some, highlights on the perspective of the writer as what strategy is and what strategy isn't. In that introduction. And also we looked at, chapter 2 and 3 yesterday. I think the title for chapter 2, if I'm not wrong, was let me just go through. Okay, that's untangling the challenge, finding and using the CRUX, and that was done by Lady Bolu Watife, and very well, very, very well presented yesterday. And the third chapter, which was Strategy is a Journey. Strategy is a Journey, which I had the honor of taking us through. And I was just representing one of us who wasn't available, Miriam Kadri. And so today we're going to be looking at chapter 4, 5, and 6. Taking us through chapter 4 would be no one other than our lady outside in the house today, and also through chapter 5. So chapter 4 says where you can win the ASC. So there's a framework which we'll be looking at. Also, chapter 5 goes with the title The Challenge of Growth, and no other than Engineer Ken. Our great Engineer Ken, who
Rotarian.
has metamorphosized into I watched that man grow from zero to hero. And now he's a professor. Engineer Ken is going to be taking us through chapter 5. And engineer, did I say engineer again? I want to give everybody the title of engineer. Lady Bosoye.
Just like Princess said, everybody's a doctor and a professor now.
Lady Bosoye will go to through chapter 6 for us. And chapter 6 has the title, The Challenge of Power. Challenge of Power. So I'll just, because of our time, I would try to give us some housekeeping rules, basically in terms of timing. I know every other thing we'll be able to manage, but time is also very important. For each speaker, we are looking at probably a 15-minute presentation. I'm giving you more time today. Normally it should be 10 minutes, but we will do 15 minutes, right? So that we can enjoy this. Straight on, I hand the mic over to our first presenter in person of Lady Afsa. So over to you, ma.
Thank you very much. Okay. What's happening? Can you hear me?
Loud and clear, ma. We can hear you loud and clear.
Okay.
Yes.
So let's proceed. Um, Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
And thank you for the opportunity. And we are here again to review the book titled The CRUX. Just like our able president started yesterday, this evening, we started chapter 1 to 3, and now I will start with chapter 4 today. So the title for chapter 4 is themed Where You Can Win. That's the ASC framework. The ASC framework. Please just give me a few seconds. Umi. Sorry, please.
Oh,
So
that's fine.
the title for today's class is today's presentation, which is chapter 4, is Where You Can Win. And it has a framework. That's the ASC framework. The chapter 4 discusses more about focus. Any strategy you have, make sure you don't get distracted. You need to have that focus. That sense of, okay, you are determined to achieve these results. So whatever strategy you are coming up with or a solution you want to solve, make sure you are focused. You are paying attention to a particular problem. Don't mix it up. Don't allow yourself to get distracted. So there are scenarios, or let me say, the author came up with storytelling about how some organizations passed through some challenges. During the World War II too, he mentioned a narration how they won, how the admirals then they made decision on the particular challenge they are facing, the crux of their problem, how they can address the crux of the problem and weaken other challenges. So chapter 4 is basically talking about focusing on a particular problem, addressing it with probable solutions. Now, ASC stands for Addressable Strategic Challenge. Understanding the concept of ASC, chapter 4 introduces that strategic challenges emerges which you should come up with focus efforts to achieve a desired goal. Don't mix up, or maybe, okay, this is a focus you are addressing, or a challenge you are addressing, and then you are not mixing it up with other issues. Just like maybe you are addressing your marketing strategy, you are not mixing it with client strategy, getting new clients. The author suggested that always look for, just like it was discussed yesterday, the author advised you should focus on the main problem. You have to identify these are your challenges, then you now focus on the biggest one. And in addressing that biggest one, make sure you create a good solution for it, so that once it is addressed, other challenges to weaken, you won't see them as a problem any longer. 9, defining where you can win, the concept of where you can win. The author stated that strategy is not about lofty aspirations, like you having an ambition or having wants, like corporate organizations now. Okay, maybe this month we have achieved the aspect of winning customers. You aspire to get, let's say, additional sales, or you want to start manufacturing other goods, or you want to explore into other options. He said that you should have a deliberate choice, have a deliberate decision when when addressing a strategy. You have to confront it in such a way that you see it as you are willing to win this challenge. Now, the concept of ASC, just like I mentioned earlier, addressable strategic challenge, that's what ASC stands for. The addressable strategic challenge, which is ASC, is distinguishing from manageable challenges from those that are beyond our capabilities, emphasizing realistic actions that are coherent in decision making today. For the way I understood the concept of ASC is more of talking about having smart goals. Whatever solutions you want to offer, it should be something that you can sustain it, measure it. It should be realistic. Time bound is very important. Don't give yourself a challenge that you don't know when you will win such challenge, or you don't know when you overcome it. So the ASC framework aligns very well with having smart goals. Now, strategic judgment and prioritization is very important too. The author mentioned that the importance of having a good sense of judgment, as well as addressing a challenge, is very important. Now, let's talk about the importance. He mentioned that importance defines how critical a challenge is in addressing organizational success, emphasizing that only significant challenges should be prioritized to drive meaningful strategic outcomes and resource allocation. We are still trying to emphasize more on focus, the importance of the challenge, as well as the solutions. You may have multiple challenges in your organizations, but you know your organizations better off than anyone else. So definitely there must be the one that is not making you to have peace of mind, whether maybe it's too much debt, or your customers are declining interest in the product either your services, or customers are declining interest. So something must be the main crux of your problem in an organization. So what the author is trying to emphasize more on the ASC framework is that challenges come, they go, but make sure you choose the most important one, address it to the end. Because once you achieve that particular challenge, definitely other challenges that seem to you that are challenges will start suppressing. And then if you achieve the bigger one, others too, it's more of you are getting solutions to such other challenges. Now, the practical examples, the framework used by the author is the World War II decisions, where they came up together to have a strategy. I think the admiral in the book, he came up with 4 strategies, A, B, C, D, S, and the last one was chosen, even though most of the crew members rejected such decision. But then he had his reasons. He said, if we choose this decision, the last part of the decision, it will pave way, it will give solutions to the remaining challenges they were facing. They faced the aspect of flying of their jets, weapons. They faced the aspect of moving freely inside the ocean, because they had boundary challenges, they had even space challenges and other incumbent challenges that they were experiencing. But he mentioned the most important one was that of what was that of the last aspect of it, coming up with and creating allies like them, yes, creating allies with other neighboring countries in such a way that they can win other challenges. Now, the targeting specific audience to maximize business impact. This one was about one Yemen man. They call him Musa. Yes, his name was Musa, if I can remember.
Majid, yeah.
He, yes, he started as he sells groceries. So when he started, it was more of offering services for people, but he now decided to change his strategy. He started selling groceries, even though he had a very small shop in the neighborhood, but he made sure that each and every needs and wants of the groceries he's selling is what the neighborhood needs, is what they need, so that number one, he's solving it, he's giving solution to, rather than going far away to get groceries, you have it so close to your doorstep. You just need to walk some steps away from your house and you have your groceries with you. And then this same strategy that he made use of minimizes cost for him. The cost implication was so minimal that he was even able to save and sponsor his child to school, which was a good strategy, rather than him. And he equally got loans through his landlord, the people that he was selling product. Or in fact, one thing that stood out for me that I remembered very well was that his customers that were patronizing him, he will even call them out loudly, that he will mention their names just to show them that he knows they have been buying products from him and he really appreciates him. So there are strategies you can use to boost your business or your services you are offering. It all depends on which one you want to start with and which focus you are giving, the focus you are giving, you are addressing, you are paying attention to. Now, executive exercises, I cannot remember this thing, but he emphasizes more on team evaluations that fosters strategic thinking and planning. The author, he mentioned that corporate organizations generally, you have to display some level of interdependency. You cannot just build it on your own. You have to be inclusive, bring your team together, have actionable meetings, decisions, take actionable decisions. Make sure you hear from them. What do you think? This is the challenge we are facing. Make them feel inclusive. That way, you are trying to hear from each and every one of your team members, and you cannot come up with a solution. And in carrying out such, you address the crux of your problem, itemize them, put them in itemized form. Then your team, you and your team will now choose, this is the challenge. You will now identify a particular one. You proceed with setting an executive, an actionable plan to solve the problem. Now, implication. Strategic implications ahead. From the ASC challenge, it's emphasizing on focus and coherence, avoid diffuse goals, then dynamic processes. For focus and coherence, the author emphasizes a strategic focus ensures that resources are allocated effectively. Is that from me?
Yes, ma, that's the timer and shows that your time is up, ma. So
Oh, really?
we'll just give you
Okay, let me wrap it
uh
up. Now,
yes, in
focus and
next two
yes,
minutes.
Okay, let me wrap it up. It talks about focus and coherence, avoid diffuse goals, dynamic process. Focus and coherence, be determined that this is the goal you are set to achieve. Avoid diffuse goals. Don't mix up goals. Pick one, address it, and finish up. Now, dynamic process. In addressing your challenges, be dynamic. If it's not working for you, you pivot. Don't persevere, just change your strategy. Then, key takeaways generally about chapter 4. It talks about focus on achieving goals to drive meaningful impacts. Very, very important. And I have stated that the way I see chapter 4 is more of emphasizing having smart goals. Strategic clarity enhances decision making and resource allocation. Yes. When you have clarity, you have defined your problem. Solution is in fact, once you define your problem, you already have a solution to it. Prioritize actions that align with immediate capabilities and objectives. It's still talking about setting achievable goals. When you prioritize what is important, there's something we call important and urgent but not important, and important and not urgent. So you need to have these frameworks. What is so important, you make it urgent. What is not urgent but important, you know how to prioritize your goals. Conclusion. Just like I have stated earlier, have smart goals. It should be measurable, attainable, realistic, and time-bound. Thank you for listening.
Thank you so much, Lady. Thank you so much, Lady Afsa. I think that's a rousing applause for you. That's I mean, concluding your brilliant presentation. I would say it was quite clear and concise. I love the slides. The slides helped me, follow your presentation just in that order. And so thank you so much. I would say, please go and bring back your mentor, Lady Samira. She should, see you in this brilliance, basically. So go and bring back your mentor so that we can she can witness your brilliant presentations, because we haven't seen Lady Samira since the beginning of this year, I believe, if I'm not wrong. Okay, so thank you so much. That was very, very insightful. You touched on all the points. From the writer's perspective, you gave us all the different positions of the writer. So thank you so much. And I think for me, this is one of the very, I would say, outstanding, chapters in this book, because it talks on, focusing on what matters, basically. Talks of focusing on what matters. And that's where most people miss it, because we want to do everything. But I'll come back to that at the very end. Give us the opportunity to talk more on that at the very end of all the presentations, so that we don't waste too much time. Also, I wanted to talk about Maro's reflection. I mean, my reflection from Maro's question yesterday. One of his questions, or was it probably a statement where he said, that he doesn't think everyone can be a strategist. I think he changed it slightly in the end to say, okay, maybe everyone can be a strategist, but in certain ways. Basically, looking at this chapter and what it posits, I would say that everyone can be a strategist, depending on what they are contributing, right? The writer talks about picking the brains of people You work with different stakeholders, you work with different people. Somebody might just come up with one slight contribution that would change the whole trajectory of the discussion or the strategy itself. So it's very important for us to understand that in as much as not everybody might have that strategic or the to put things together, put the strategy together and all that, their opinions matter. Because when you are looking for different opinions and ideas, you can come by something that will even transform the organization from the cleaner, right? So very important that you put people together all the time, get their one of the other books we read in the past talked about, doing this exact same thing. And don't discount anybody. Don't say this person. The cleaner might be the one who sits down and watch the process from top to bottom every day and say, this is where these guys are not doing it right. And if you give him voice, he might just be the one to transform the organization. So it's very important sometimes. I'm not saying that you bring a cleaner into your executive board meetings or whatever, but there will be forums where you can get people together to talk and give their opinions. Okay, so quickly, I'll be handing over the mic now to the next speaker. I think it's 37. So you got another 15 minutes to go through your slide, Engineer Ken. Thank you so much. Over to you, sir. Chapter 7. Oh, did I say 7? 1, 2, 3, 4.
Chapter 5. Chapter 5.
I'm running ahead of my time. Chapter 5.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to this evening session. My presentation is going to be on Chapter 5, the challenge of growth. David, you play me my slides. The meaning and mechanism of growth. What is growth really? Growth. In this case, the crux of the matter is growth. Because you set up a business venture, especially as a CEO, the shareholders want to grow their share value. They want their dividends. So definitely growth is quite important. So what is growth? Growth is the concept of increase and health. Increase was the increase. In biology, the word means increase in size of an organism or the number of cells. In business, it means almost an improvement in a measure of success, but especially increase in revenue and profit. In microeconomics, it normally means increase in GDPs or some other overall measure of economic activity. You double click, when you click again, it will show. David, yeah. We are looking at the cross, a review of chapter 5, the challenge of growth. Growth is necessary in an industry, in any business. Growth can be a tricky goal, often pursued without a clear strategy. Rummel argues that growth is often treated as an end in itself, rather than a means to an end. Companies set growth target, e.g., grow revenue by 20%, without considering whether that growth creates value or is even strategic. This can lead to misguided effort, like cutting prices to boost sales or expanding into unrelated areas. You see, most CEOs are forced to grow, even when the market is saturated. In the book, he gave an example of the cell phone. In the distance between the first 5 years, there was a growth of about 17%. But when the market got saturated, the next 5 years had only 2% growth. And it got to a point that the number of cell phone lines, active lines, are even 2 times more than the population of the people using it. So, in a nutshell, the crux of the matter, which is the problem, is how do you grow? How do you grow? How do you grow the strategies to a good growth so as to satisfy your shareholders? your management, and others. Next slide. Companies often prioritize growth over profitability or competitive advantage. Rumelt knows that the pursuit of growth can lead companies to sacrifice profitability, sustainability, or competitive advantage. For example, a company might enter a new market just to say it is in that market, even if it doesn't have a strong position there. Or it might cut margins to boost sales, harming long-term prospects. Sometimes CEOs are forced to invest in places or in options where there are no gains or where the immediate return will take time, just in order to satisfy the longings of the owners of the company, which are the shareholders. They want you to grow, but you must first of all sit down and look at the possibility of growth. I've reached my peak level. What do I do? Do I continue pushing forward, and by the time you keep pushing forward and you are not getting any growth, because shareholder growth, shareholder capital growing is different from profitability or sales margin of the company. It gets a point where people start losing interest in your company, your shares. They see that the growth, you have peaked. There is no way you can go further. So they are forced to start the investing from your company. They begin to sell away their shares, and your share values fall down. But that does not mean that the company is not doing well. The company might be doing well, profitable, but once the shareholders or your market value start dropping, people start losing interest in it. So CEOs are sometimes forced to enter into fields which they are not prepared for. And this might not at the immediate time give profit. It will be a long time thing, or they might end up not making profit out of it. Next slide. True growth comes from addressing strategic challenges and creating value. Sure. In contrast to mindless growth, Rumelt argues that true growth comes from tackling strategic challenges and creating values. This means identifying areas where you can build a strong position, solve customer problems, or innovate in ways that create advantages. Growth follows from having a good strategy, not the other way around. You sit down first and say, he gave an example of a CEO who called him and said he should make an analysis of growth, annual growth margin. He told him that that's not how it is done. That you must first of all sit down and see what are the things that will make your company grow more. In some cases, there are ideas you have to let go. You might de-invest in some field. You might look for you might even look for a merger, acquisition, and other things. Because he gave an example of Walmart. Walmart made a good return. But if you ask them to keep a 10% growth every year, he says it means Walmart have to buy the other two bigger companies in America to get that return in a year. So first of all, you sit down and say, what are the ways to grow? What are we doing well? What are we not doing well? Have we reached our peak as in the market? Do we create new products entirely so that it will boost our sales? Do we abandon some of the production line? Do we adopt a new strategy? All these are things that will lead to growth. Next slide. Focus on solving problems and building strength rather than just chasing growth. And that's the problem most of the industries have, or the CEOs. Rumelt emphasizes focusing on solving real problems and building strength, the crux of the book. By addressing strategic challenges and creating values, growth can follow naturally. What are your challenges? Your market, are you getting the best of it? Do you have your staff? Are they doing their best? Are they training the ones that are in the field? Are they carrying the new ones along? Are you doing all you? Have you gotten to your various niches, your area of service, your HR? How are they performing? Your financial aspect, your financial managers, what are they doing? All these are the things that are necessary to encourage growth and not just keep chasing growth for growth's sake. You strategize, you sit down and say, okay, we're at this point. What do we do to get to this next point? There are forces on us. Our shareholders are forcing us for growth. Is it possible? Is it possible? If it's not possible, what are the things to do? What are the ways to go about it? You call a management meeting, you hold conferences, you hold trainings to look at these problems and find strategic ways of addressing each one, rather than trying to just say you must grow every year. Sometimes the best growth is to remain at the point you are rather than coming down. So I believe that growth should be increased and not decreased. Even if you are stable at a year and later on you move, they are all still growth. Rather than saying I'll make 25% growth this year and you end up not achieving anything. Rather, you are going down. Next slide. Some questions to consider. Is your company pursuing growth for its own sake, or is growth a result of solving real problems? Are you focusing on building strength and addressing strategic challenges? As I said, most companies are pursuing growth for the sake of it because they want to impress their shareholders. They want to at the AGMs, annual general meetings, they say I posted so return, our share value is this. Some of them go to some shady ways of doing it to post impressive returns, hicking people, some fake it. But the truth is that if you want to have a lasting growth, you have to have a sustainability growth that is tangible, growth that is seen and felt by all, and not just because you want to grow. Next slide. The 7 ingredients of strategic growth. He mentioned it in the book, and I just had to pick them on this way. 1, if you want to grow, deliver exceptional value to an expanding market. Create a value. Let me pick an example. When Nigeria was becoming, our economy was becoming dwindling, when sachet milk was coming into the market, Cowbell, the Indians, they were the first to venture into that field, and they made a whole lot of money. They made a whole lot of money before other companies like Nestle and others came into it. So they delivered an exceptional value. Everybody could afford, every poor man or every less privileged person could buy milk and have his tea or coffee. So that's a strategy, a marketing strategy that was good. The second one was simplify to grow. You have to shed some of the luggages. Simplify your crew, your strategy, make it simple so that you can grow. Then the third one is be quick. In whatever you're doing, be the first to do it. Be quick at it before another person comes into that field or in that niche. You have already captured a chunk of the market. So for you to grow, think, strategize, and apply the knowledge or what you taught quickly so that you can capture the market. Then 4, use merger and acquisition to speed and complement a strategy. If it involves coming to merging with others to grow, to have a big company, or if you're able to acquire new companies to grow your own, you do that so that it can speed up your growth. It's a good one. Then the fifth one is don't overpay. Don't overpay, truly. The sixth one is don't grow the blob. If you cannot grow, shed your weight so that you can easily move ahead. You must not carry all the baggages. Some of the production line or some of the units that are not functioning, you shed them away. Then the last one is don't fake it. Most corporate organizations fake their profitability, their annual returns, just for the sake of it, to post good annual return. At the end, they can't even pay dividends to their shareholders. So for me, growth is the crux of the matter, and every company has to find a way to grow. Next. Thank you for listening. Remain blessed.
Oh, wow. Thank you so much, Engineer Ken, for another banger. Thank you so much. I really like the way you started. You started really strong and even ended strong at the same time, and sounding more and more like a businessman, like a business executive when I hear you speak. Thank you so much. That's your vision.
I beat your time.
Thank you. That's your vision. Okay, so whilst I'm speaking, we can just go ahead and give the two previous speakers, Lady Afsa and Engineer Ken, their flowers for good job done. Well done to both of you. I just wanted to acknowledge the presence of some of the people on the call before we go on. So we know that, okay, yeah, so I can see Bolu. Bolu is back today. Thank you, Bolu, for joining. Good to have you. I can see Dr. Murayo, our A-list attendee, always on board. Thank you so much, Dr. Murayo. And Lady Ovosa, good one, back to back, yesterday and today. Thank you so much for joining. You promised Princess we're going to talk today, but she's not the one anchoring, so I will save you the pain for now. Princess, thank you once more as well. And our presenters, David, thank you very much. So, and I think I'm missing somebody, Maro. Maro is also there with Princess. Thank you, Maro, for joining. Okay, so I'll just quickly do a wrap up of the next chapter, chapter 6, which I don't have a slide for. It's supposed to be by Lady Busoye, but unavoidably absent. So just go on to do it on her behalf. But one thing I wanted to say about when Engineer Ken was speaking, one thing that came to mind quickly was the fact that the one thing that's been consistent in this book, in all of the chapters, is very reminiscent to something that used to happen back in the day when I was working in the workshop environment. When I was working the engineering firms that I worked for in the past. Basically, we had what we call stop work mandate, or what do you call it? What have you? It was like the safety department has that, tool that they use, or that sort of engagement tool that they use to say, okay, if there is any likeness of anything that's showing that this job is being done in an unsafe manner, anybody within the organization had the power or the authority to stop that work. It doesn't matter if it was the CEO that was carrying out that work. If I come to that environment and I see that there is any likeness of any safety violations or whatever, I would stop. I would just tell the person, I will issue a stop work notice, and that person has to stop the work. At least then we have to evaluate and all of that, and I cannot be penalized for stopping that work, because I sort of presume that, or I sort of evaluate that, okay, there is some form of danger, and that's why I'm stopping the work. Now, where am I going to with this? Basically, most times we just go head on. We just want to make sales. We just want to convert. We just want to do this. We just want to do that without stopping to see in itself, which area of focus can bring the best results. Every time we just put the numbers, we just go with those, like the writer calls it in the summary, those buzzwords. We just say, okay, we want 20%, growth return this year. We just want this, we just want that, without even looking at it and say. And so what we do is that we put pressure on the salesperson, we put pressure on the marketers, we put pressure on everyone else, without even looking at the product and saying this product is good enough for achieving this target. So very important. One thing that's been consistent in this book is that focus area. Is always talking about focus. You need to look at the focus area and say, okay, what is it that I can focus on that can give me the best result? And you don't have to do everything at the same time. You don't have to juggle all the balls at once. You can focus on that one, achieve it, then move on to other things that can help build on what you are doing in that area. So that's very important. Okay, so I'll use the next 5 minutes to wrap up. David, don't stop me the way you stopped Lady Afsa, because that was not nice at all, the way you just stopped that.
I was checking something actually. I wasn't stopping you.
No, I'm just kidding. Okay, so let me quickly do that wrap up of chapter 6 for us. Okay, so chapter 6 says the challenge of power. And then it talks about the introduction to power and strategy. The writer says that addressing the crux of a challenge necessitates action. You see, again, focusing on that the crux of a challenge. So he says, which inherently involves prioritizing certain activities, certain people, and certain departments. This reallocation of roles and resources is a vital part of strategic focus and reflects the exercise of power. The topic of power often evokes discomfort, especially in modern management thinking, which emphasizes that determination and belief alone can lead to success. So we'll quickly look at some case studies, but before then, let's look at the discomfort with power in strategy. During a talk in Stockholm, Rumelt himself, he encountered a group of strategic academics who viewed businesses as a part of a complex social web. So suggesting that organizations evolve naturally without human intervention. So some people believe that, okay, if you just put everything together, the organization will just keep pushing, just keep telling people, make more money, keep employing more staff and doing this and that. Organizations will just keep evolving. But Rumelt countered that strategy. He said that strategy itself is fundamental. The imposition of design and direction by leaders on an organization is very important. So you have to work out every organization by direction, by design, and then by direction. It says this distinction highlighted a common unease among intellectuals concerning the concept of power, which has roots in evolutionary theory that diminishes human agency. Okay, so for the case studies, I have 2 case studies each, but I'll take one each because of our time. Basically because of our time. So I'll take the case study about Stan Ashtins at Metalco. So Stan Ashtins was brought in as CEO to turn around Metalco, a company called Metalco. Facing resistance from heads of divisions, he strategically focused on areas where he had authority. By acting decisively in the electrometals division and demonstrating management capability, he gradually garnered the support needed to enact broader changes across the company, illustrating how one can build a power base effectively. So you see that power is something that can either elevate or, humble one's ambitions when it comes to reformations done in any organization, when it comes to trying to rebuild or do whatever, trying to rethink your strategy. If you don't have the adequate power, that could be a problem. Telling somebody, oh, reform this and whatever, without aligning the power the power curve, or what I call it, that power, axis itself, to say, okay, who takes charge of this will be a problem in an organization. Sometimes people feel left out when they cannot exercise the right sense of power in any area that they have been empowered to do something. Yes, go and do it, but of course your manager is there to say, no, you can't do it. Who is asking you to do that? Or some other departmental manager is in the way to stop your efforts. Okay, so that has killed strategic approaches in organizations. Examples of insufficient power. So Rumelt rather discusses instances where leaders lack the authority to enact impactful strategies. A woman leading a significant government agency expressed frustration over a limited power to set strategic direction, showing how even those in high positions can feel ineffective without backing from their organizations. So you don't just put people, if you are a leader, you're trying to create a team that would work on strategy and all of that. You don't just give them the task without ensuring that you understand power play within the organization. Okay, who is both, you have to put it within that, what do we call that, for different those 4 different boxes. Now I've forgotten what we call them. High influence, high relevance, or power quadrant, the quadrants. Yeah, we put them in those quadrants and know how to match them with how to match the people you have given the task to, with the leaders, for it to go even to do that critical influencing task for them, because there are people who they may not be able to approach, and maybe you as the leader need to go and approach them for yourself and say, okay, I have given this task to Mr. A and B to get their buy-in, depending on how your organization is structured. Very important. So also we look at the last case study for the day. There were 4 of them. I just decided to pick on 2. And this case study, remember, talks about where power is insufficient. Fletcher Black and Seco, the cycle. Fletcher Black's experience with Seco illustrated the challenges of navigating corporate constraints. Seco's marketing and sales efforts were hampered by a lack of control over product development and manufacturing, rendering them unable to execute effective competitive strategies. Fletcher's situation highlighted the broader issue of executives lacking the necessary power to confront and address competitive threats. So in conclusion, I would say throughout these examples, Rumelt underscores the importance of power dynamics in strategy formulation and execution. Effective strategy not only requires thoughtful planning, but also authority to direct and implement actionable changes within an organization. So that brings chapter 6 to a close. And very important, you can't leave out one thing. If you put a good strategy together, put all the best team together, and they lack power to execute, it's as good as dead on arrival. Especially in big organizations, especially in big organizations. So you need to understand the power play. Thank you very much. Don't give me flowers yet. Let's have that discussion, because if you give the flowers, well, I would give it complimentary to Lady Busoye. Okay, so let's go. Let's quickly just have a 5-minute discussion, and then we can close. Thank you so much, everyone, for listening. So I had wanted to say something earlier, but because of our time, I will let people talk rather. So who's ready to open the floor for us? We just need about 2 or 3 contributions today. Princess, do you want to go first? Or Lady Ovosa, you need to hear your voice today anyways. Are we still?
Oh my God, good evening.
Good evening, Lady Ovosa.
Yes.
How are you, ma?
I'm fine, thank you. I want to say good evening to everybody, and also Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Okay, so for me, yesterday, I listened to it. I intentionally came up and making time, and this really goes to show that what is really important, like they always say, or we always say somewhere, that what is really important to make time for it. I saw the book and I found that I felt that I saw it's kind of interesting. I looked at I read the summary. I listened to the summary and I found it very interesting. I intentionally decided that I was going to go through these what's it called, presentations this time around. And yesterday was also very enlightening, informative, and I also got some things there. And so for me, it's more about listening now. I like the topic, the title of the book, the crux of the matter. And I listened to when Engineer Ken was talking about its own aspect, the growth. That the growth is the crux of the strategy. And he also mentioned something about getting into the thing first, getting into the business first before others. And he reminded me of when KO said, "You innovate or you die." So it just took me back to when she said, "When you innovate," and when we read also is it the Blue Ocean? Blue Ocean strategy, something like that.
Yeah, that's correct.
And yeah, so when he talks about when you innovate, and because that was when Kay was also mentioned that when you innovate and you get into, because you own the innovation, you own the market also for that period before other people start coming in. I guess that was what Engineer Ken also was talking about when you say when you start something new. I guess so. That's it for me. It also just brings to fore that we need to always bring in our thinking cap, which that book also helped me. So at every time when we read Blue Strategy and we read Traction, something like that,
Traction, yeah.
Always, yes, it has always helped me. It has always reminded me that you must always think of the next step, the next move. You must always think about it. Because like I always tell my children, life is all about problem solving anyway. So when you get into a business, you just have to think about what's the next growth? What will be the next growth?
Okay.
So that you can get that you can cap that niche and just move on with it before others will come in, like Engineer Ken said. And so that's my submission. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that. Thank you so much for your contribution. Really appreciate it and good to hear your voice. I saw Lady Bolu's hand, but before you say something, Lady Bolu, I just wanted to say the caveat on getting into the business environment first. I mean, being the first early sort of arrivee is that you never get too comfortable. You have to keep innovating. That's what Lady Evosa was also trying to say in the end. You have to keep innovating because let's look at some certain cases, case studies quickly before someone else says something. Look at the case study of which was given in the book itself. Nokia. Nokia came in, was one of the first guys in the phone, revolution and all of that. That's the cell phone revolution. But they never sustained that because they just thought that it was an organic growth, business as usual, because we're already there. We can just keep doing meetings and meetings, read normal, operational reading meetings without strategizing and thinking of how are we going to play our competition. They were just there and felt because they had a big market, of course, not care for who they were, and they didn't innovate. And that killed them faster than anything else, because they didn't have that continuous innovative mindset. And if you look at MTN, for instance, MTN came in first into the market in Nigeria, into that space. They were the major guys. Glo came in with something different. That was innovation as well, to be able to compete in that market. So that sets the pace. But MTN kept innovating in other ways to survive. They didn't decide to say, okay, since we already got here first, let's just see that, they were doing things that made customers, drew more customers to themselves, having different strategies to get more customers to themselves. So that way, they are still key player in the industry today. When you look at the cowbell market that was mentioned by Engineer Ken earlier on, they did something different at that time and whatever. But I don't think cowbell is still very popular in the market today. Maybe they sort of also didn't innovate that much to stay in the market. I don't know. But basically, I don't think they're as popular as they used to be back then. Then, in fact, we used to buy cowbell. We'd love that sachet so much that we could just buy it as a snack. We just tear it and start putting it in our mouth, right? That's how cowbell was so relevant at the time. When you take it and look at the Netflix story, where Netflix were the first to come into the market in the US, in terms of streaming and all those things. Then they had other competitors. Amazon came up, Amazon Prime, this one, Hulu, that, like Dr. Sam said yesterday. They had to be really innovative to get a new market, an international market that sustained them. So right now, they are all still surviving alongside each other, but Netflix is still the category king. They are still the market leaders in that area, because if not, they will have probably died or lost a lot of market share that they would probably be under the others. But because they knew that they could, because now what's happening now, every film production house, company, like what do you call them? All these people that used to make film traditionally, they now have their streaming, and there's no way Netflix will have competed. So they had to do something different. So the mindset should be continuous innovation. Thank you very much. Lady Bolu, over to you. And then we'll finish at 15 minutes past the hour. Yeah. Is Lady Bolu off the call? I think, she's off the call. Sorry. So anyone else want to say last words before we go? No contributions. Okay, so we'll draw thumbs there and call it a day. And I would just want to say a big thank you once again for always showing up. We are developing our intellectual muscle by coming here, not just in the business area, but even in other areas of our lives. This will really help us so much. So thank you so much for always being part and parcel of these discussions. And I'll see you tomorrow. Tomorrow we have 3 other presentations. Just want to look at the names of the presenters for tomorrow. Sorry. David, can you help me with that?
So for tomorrow we have Lady Ofosa.
Ofosa, okay. Okay, Lady Ofosa, you've heard you are there tomorrow. we want to hear your voice.
Really?
Pamela Pan.
No,
that's
Lady
chapter
Ofosa
7.
He's not there. It's Maro. Mr. Maro.
Sorry, there's a revised version.
There's a revised version. Oh, okay. There's a revised version. Okay. The last one I can see is Mr. Maro. I mean, the latest one. So did Mr. Maro reach out to say he's not available, or is there? What was the reason for the changes?
No, I got the feedback from Princess that Lady Abayomi and Maro will not be available.
Okay. But I don't think we have that on the platform. So that revised one. So that will have been a case for confusion tomorrow.
So can we hear the 3 people for tomorrow?
Yeah. Sorry, everybody.
Yes, I'm sharing it. I'm sharing the updated version now.
Okay.
so that we can also reach out to them if they have not been contacted. And because tomorrow, basically, if 2 people are not going to be there, that means it's only Nenlap that probably is aware that she's so I know how difficult it is, David. Sorry. to put these things together and also keep up. So
Okay.
yeah.
So that's the schedule.
Okay, you just sent it to me or on the platform, right?
On the platform.
Okay. Okay, yeah. So I can see we got Lady Ovosa. Wow, that's a very short notice. So Lady Ovosa, sorry, we are putting you on the spot. David will buy you a drink for compensation. And then we have Lady Nenlap and Olubu Konala. We need to contact Lady Olubu Konala for tomorrow, right? And I will be open to see both of them because they are power speakers. You know, Lady Ovosa and Olubu Konala, they are power speakers. Hopefully, they will be there tomorrow. So thank you, everyone. So we'll try and reach out to the presenters for tomorrow and then follow up with them. Thank you so much. So David, please reach out to these people. I mean, Lady Ovosa already knows now. So it's just Olubu Konala and Nenlap, just to let them know so that we can continue with this momentum. Thank you so much. Everybody have the and regards to family. Stay blessed. Thank you. Bye.
Good night.
Night.
Thank you very much. Good evening.
You're
all.
welcome, Afsat.
Have
Afsat,
a
thank you so
wonderful
much.
night rest.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
We enjoyed
You're
the
welcome.
presentation. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.